Right, okay, so that was just a technical glitch that I've replaced the mode to, so that's now sending signals through. Just restarting this. So, continuing on from this point here, all the audio signals are coming in, so the task now is to set the gains coming in. So, what you're going to start by doing is cueing the channel 1, so cue channel 1. So we'll come through the headphones when you do this. No faders, just press Q. So look for the Q function. Right, okay, select that. Right, okay, and then using the head amp gain control, which is the top dial at the top. No, that one, yeah, head amp gain. Turn that up until these lights get to -18. Right, okay. Now select the next channel, cue the next channel. Cue the next channel, do exactly the same thing. So as you increase the gain on this, you can hear the snare drum now, yes?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's all labelled up at your channel strip at the bottom as well.
Yeah.
So then cue your next channel, do exactly the same process. Right, so maybe a little bit higher on that one. Just so it hits the amber, the first amber light, -18. Okay? Okay, next channel. So this here might only come through on the odd occasion, so looking at where this hit happens, just increase the gain and you should hear a tom hit. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's -18, is it, when the drum hits?
Yeah.
Okay, next channel, bass, should be all the way through. Keep going, turn it up, you should be able to hear bass guitar all the way through. Okay, so next channel. Guitar should be all the way through.
And cue that one?
Yeah, next channel. Same again, should be able to hear it all the time.
And that one?
Yeah, so you should hear the male voice at this point, that should be through the majority of the time. So be careful because you'll sing loud and quiet. Right, okay, so when you're singing it's loud, yeah, right. So at this point here, you'll get backing vocalists somewhere like here now, so can you hear the male backing vocal?
Yeah.
And only come in on the occasion. There you go. Right, so it's maybe a little bit too high, you want to back that down ever so slightly. When he sings, you listen to it, it'll come in again. It's coming in now. Okay, so it's okay, it's appropriate, and female vocalist, and she should be roughly the same time as well, so listen to this. Right, okay, so you can hear her singing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's okay. Right, so that's it, that's the amount of channels you've got. Okay, so that's the channel strip all the way up to channel 10. So now what we need to do is we need to assign these to the appropriate subgroups, okay? So if you press number 1 at the top here, mix number 1 once, and then you press it again for the second time, what you need to do now is you need to turn on the channels that are drums, okay? So it's kick a drum.
Yes.
Right, to turn it on. Is snare a drum?
No.
Think about it.
Yes.
So then what about hi-hats?
Yes.
Part of the drum kit. And then what about toms?
Yes.
Okay, so is a bass guitar a drum?
No.
No. So now we're going to move to mix 3, so we're going to go to a backline group. So can you see the number 3 underneath the number 1? Press number 3 once. Okay, so this is going to be instruments backline, so it's bass and instrument.
Yes.
So turn it on, number 5. Is guitar an instrument?
Yes.
Is acoustic an instrument?
Yes.
Right. Is a voice dedicated or required as an instrument?
No.
No. So now we're going to go for press number 5, and this is going to be our vocals group, okay? So now you're going to turn on the vocals for this channel, and okay. So now, if you press the home function, press the home button underneath the screen, home, it's flashing at you. Yep. Right, that takes you out of Sammons faders mode, and what it means now is if you push the channel fader 1 up, so bring channel fader 1 up.
Okay.
So you don't need your headphones at this point now. So you can lose the headphones at this point.
Okay.
Okay. So just pass them over there, and put them on the table as well. Right, okay. So now what you're going to do is you're going to apply some dynamic processing. So do you know what a noise gate is?
No.
Right, okay, so a noise gate is a device that removes unwanted spill. So this is meant to just be a kick drum, but what can we hear in the background?
The toms, not toms.
You might be able to hear the toms faintly, but what's more prominent in the background?
Snares, you can hear.
Snares there, well.
The piano.
There isn't a piano.
I mean
bass,
guitar.
Guitar, okay. So there's things like that and a little bit of vocal in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and remove all that background spill. So what I need you to do is get the cursor option across to where it says dynamic 1. So use the up and down arrows until you get the thing flashing around dynamic 1. So can you see it moving around the screen now? Press enter when you're on dynamic 1. It might work on there, to be fair. Press enter. Okay, so any of the gate controls are going to bring this up, right? So this is what we refer to as a noise gate. You need to turn it on first off. So can you get across to here where it says on? I know it's difficult to see with no lights on, but press it up once, press it up once. Right, now press enter, so that should be the on function. Right, so notice it starts a little bit different already, okay? So I want you to go across the hold and the release time, okay, with the cursor. So go across to the hold time first. Down, 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 right, okay. That jog dial wheel, that there, turn it all the way to the left hand side. Left. Counterclockwise, yeah, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, all the way, keep going. All the way till it doesn't stop. Yeah, keep going. Right, okay? Right, now go to the next dial, go across to the next one, and bring that all the way down as well. Okay, come across to the range setting, do exactly the same. The range, not the threshold, you're on the threshold. Go across to the range. Right, okay, and now go to the threshold, okay, and increase that, go the other way with that one. So, no, the right hand side, right, so listen to the changes as this happens as well. So at some point you might start to lose the gate. Oh, right, sorry, my bad temperament here, look. So look, remember we're on channel 10 at the minute, so stop pressing buttons at the minute. Look, it says channel 10, okay, too excited. Press Q on channel 1, I'll do exactly the same thing. So listen, we're on channel 1 now, the kick drum, so the settings we were doing was trying to be on a vocal channel, that's why it wasn't effective, okay? So go across to the on function down here again, and across press enter. Nope, up. Right, okay, so now you can hear it more effectively, okay? Down to the gate and the hold and the decay settings and minimise it for now. So drop it down, yeah, with the jog, exactly the same thing you just did, but now it works, okay? Go left once, down, okay, and look, the range has already been set to the lowest value for you here now. So go across to here. Now, as this is happening, I want you to just decrease that value, or increase the value, sorry, until it just gives you the kick drum the other way. Go to the right hand side with it. So be careful now though, because listen what's happening. What's it doing? It's making the kick drum sound like a click or a glitch. It's not making it sound like a kick drum. So you might want to bring it back ever so slightly, but listen, can you hear what's coming in the background? What's that on the end?
Fuzz,
No.
I think. I don't
It
know
was an instrument, but now it sounds like fuzz because of what the settings will go.
Guitar.
No. So what's the next thing that we're meant to be listening to right now?
Just the kick drum.
Well, we're meant to be listening to the kick drum, now we've got the noise gate on, but you're hearing a bit of the snare drum. That little bit of what you're referring to as fuzz is actually a snare drum, believe it or not. Okay? So you might want to turn this just to the right hand side until we can't hear that snare drum hit anymore. So listen to this. Right, okay? Turn it round to the right hand side a bit more. Keep going. Right, listen. See that? So it sounds a bit like a kick drum now, but it doesn't have that snare hit after it, okay?
No.
So now what you're going to do is go across to this K with the value, go across to the right hand side with that, okay, and you're going to increase that, say, carefully, so you now get the more body of the snare, a kick drum, sorry, without the snare. Okay? So hear that now, it sounds more like a kick drum without anything else. So now we're happy with that, we're going to go into the EQ stage, so can you press this function here? Okay, so not again, but yeah, so just press it once, just push it in once, right, okay. At that point there then, we're on the EQ for the kick drum. So we're going to try and make the kick drum stand out more, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to hit the low band, press the low button first, and then what you're going to do is you're going to increase 100 hertz, which is already set to, so you need to go for the gain control in the EQ section, that turquoise colour, yeah. So go to increase that, okay, and then EQ's off at the minute, okay, so just be careful, leave that there for now, go across to the left once on your cursor, and then press enter. Right, so that's the EQ one, you can hear that happening already. So low band, I want you to increase the cue point so it widens it a little bit. So just widen it out a little bit more so it sounds a bit more natural, okay? Can you hear the roundness of the kick drum coming in more now?
Yeah.
And now you're going to go to 3 to 5 kilohertz, let's say 4 kilohertz. You're going to go for high mid frequency next, like the high frequency button first. Whoa, high frequency button first. You're on the low, you want the high mid first. Right, now use this frequency dial to get that to say 4.00k. Okay? So frequency says you're going too far, man. Look, so it's down to ones. I said 4.00k. So that will right, okay. Now I want you to add the gain to this again. Gain, dial at the bottom. No. Increase it, turn it up. Okay, I'll wait there. Go back to the beginning. Right, okay, not so much. Bring it down. Okay, just so it's got a bit of brightness to it. Bring it down a little bit more. Okay, so it's a little bit brighter than what it was. But look, overall, you set this to -18 before, but now it's creeping up. So now you're going to use that head amp gain to bring it down to -18 slightly. So it just wants to be hitting one amber light. Right. Maybe a little bit less. Right.
Okay.
Right, okay. So that point there, we've gated and we've EQ'd the kick drum. So we're going to turn it off now. Right, and now you're going to press Q for the next channel. And now you're going to start by putting a high pass filter on this time. So use the arrows to get to this function above on. Okay, and then press enter. And now what you're going to do is you're going to sweep this frequency, so go just the one, where's the blue, and you're going to get that to about 112, I think, somewhere like that. So listen to it. Lift your channel fade as well so we can hear this happening.
This one.
Yeah, so lift that up so we can hear it. It should be the snare drum now. Okay, lift it a little bit higher so we can hear it a bit clearer. Right, okay. So what's that frequency set to now?
112.
Okay. So now what we're going to do is going to put some low end into this. We're going to go for 160 hertz. So we're going to use the low dial and we're going to change this frequency that says 20 to 160. So move that dial.
This one.
Use the frequency on it. Just quick access function. Go to it says 160. Okay, and now increase the gain, which is the one underneath it. Okay, so you can hear that sounds a little bit solid now. Okay, maybe a little bit less than what you've got it. So maybe go for like, try 6 dB, come down. Okay, and maybe narrow the cue point, so bring it in a little bit so it's not affecting so much at the top end there. So bring it the other way, so it brings it in a little bit more. Okay, a little bit more. Keep going. Okay, so you've got more of the body of the snare drum without anything else. Maybe a little bit, tiny bit more. Right, okay. So now we're going to put in some 4 kilohertz again, so you need to change the high frequency dial. So press the high frequency. Yes, high, no, press the button, press the high frequency, high mid. Okay? Now, get hold of the frequency dial and make that say 4.00k again, so slightly higher. Right, okay, now increase the gain again.
Let's see.
Just lift it so we can hear it first. But use your ears when we're doing this. Change the cue point a little bit, narrow it in a little bit, so the cue point, bring it in a little bit, so it's tightening it up. Bring it, turn it the other way, so it's narrowing off the effect. Keep bringing it in, keep bringing it in. So it's not affecting so much here and here anymore. Keep coming in, a little bit more. Okay, keep going. Okay, so you see how it's just affecting the snare drum now and not so much the cymbals and the overheads, right?
Yeah.
So we can gate this channel as well, to be fair. So what we could try doing is if we press the home function, it depends on how much effect it's going to have on other things, but if you go up to actually press enter, we can do it on any of these dials. Press enter now, enter. Okay, that brings it up on this screen. Turn the on function to use the up and down arrows to get to on. Press enter. So we might struggle for this a little bit depending on what settings we've got, okay? So scroll across to the hold and the decay settings and minimise them. Turn them all the way down to the left hand side, so now left the other way. Keep going all the way. Go across to the decay and do exactly the same thing. Okay, come across to the range and do exactly the same thing. Okay, and come across to the hold time now, and this point here, we're going to increase it so it just gets the snare in. So it's too much background spill. Keep going up, keep going the other way now. No, the other way. Right, keep going. to the hold time ever so slightly, and increase the hold time.
Oh, yeah.
Right, increase that slightly. Okay? And then gradually increase the decay now. So we'll try and get it to sound a bit more natural, right? But you've got to be careful. Decay only enough so the snare comes through, nothing else. Okay, so it's a bit tight between that. So if you turn that channel on, okay, and if you lift both of them to mix them a little bit better, so bring the kick drum up a little bit and the snare drum up a bit more. Right, okay? So it's more appropriate for the type of environment you'd have. Can you turn them off now then? So we're happy with them two channels for this point here. Right, cue this channel, this next channel.
This was the
Okay,
third one.
just cue the third one, yeah. What we're going to do is going to apply EQ, so we're going to go to the gain, just press one of these buttons here, one of the blue ones, just press it in once, okay, so it brings up the EQ screen. We're on channel 3, bringing that up. We're going to lift the channel so we can hear it, just lift it up, yeah. Now, we could put a noise gate on this, but it's an ambient mic, so we're going to try and use it for a bit of benefit, but we want to get rid of some of the kick and snare out of it by using a high pass filter. So come across to this box here that's not got anything on it, okay, and then press enter. And then go up one to the frequency dial, and then we're going to go as far as possible on the right hand side with this, so it should be about 600 hertz.
This one?
Yeah, and just go, no, this one here, and then all the way to the 6, so turn it all the way to the right hand side, the other way, filter it. Okay, so this is just going to leave us with the upper end frequencies, okay, it's only meant to be the cymbals and the overheads, okay, it's not meant to be any kick or snare, so that's going to help us get rid of the bottom end, okay. So at this point in time, if you lift it up slightly a bit higher so we can hear a bit clearer. Okay, now turn these two channels on. Can you hear? See how that works? So that's still the top end, that's the kick, that's the snare. So you've got a bit of a balance going on, okay? So it's appropriate for now to turn them off. Okay, last one is going to be awkward, it's going to be the tom. So we're going to have to gate this, but it only happens once every now and then. So what I'm going to do is lift channel 4 and cue channel 4. And lift it up so we can hear this. Okay, so listen to this instrument by itself, it's going to come in very shortly, I think. That one hit. Okay, so lift it up a bit more so we can hear it. Right, that's the one hit we've got. So we're going to try and get rid of all the other stuff and just get that one hit in, okay? So if we press the home function, and then press enter, which brings us into the noise gate settings, okay, we're going to turn it on, so come across here with the enter function.
Threshold?
Up, yep, both ways, the on function first, press enter. That's above threshold, okay, so we're turning the gate on. Now again, drop this and this down as much as possible, and the range as well, so bring it all the way down to the left hand side, and the range. Okay, right, now what you're going to do is go to the threshold, so across one more, okay, and you're going to increase this, so we just get the snare, just get the tom hit, without that snare hit, okay? So higher, the other way, increase it, right, up, right hand side, swing it to the right hand side. Right, be careful. Keep going. So you can hear the other stuff in the background. Keep going up with it. Up is like turn it to the right, tighten it up.
Yeah.
You're bringing it down this way. You want to go that way with it. That's what I'm saying. Round that way. That way. That way. That way. Just that way. No, you're coming back to me. That way. Round to the right hand side. Clockwise, like a clock.
Yeah.
Keep going, keep going, keep going. Right, hold there. Hold there. Right. Right. See that? So that's got the one hit in there, but it's got rid of everything else. It's a little bit too tight though, so we're going to bring it back this way ever so slightly. We're going to just do it slowly. Okay, listen. Okay, it's a little bit more natural, just bring it a little bit more, see if we can get a little bit more sound out of it. Right, okay, so there's a bit more. Now what we're going to do is we're going to try and get rid of that sort of fuzzy end into it by putting some release on, which is the decay setting. Increase that slightly. We don't want to increase it so other stuff comes back in though, so you just want to see it sounds more natural now. It's got natural decay to it.
Yeah.
Maybe you get a little bit more out of the release, try it a little bit higher.
Oh, well,
yeah, okay. Keep going a little bit more. Right, okay, so at that point there you can just maybe hear a tiny bit of guitar in the background, so maybe knock it down a little bit. So come to me again a little bit more. Right, okay, so we'll go with something like that. So if you turn these other channels on, so in the mix so far that's a little bit quiet, so turn that up. You hear that? Okay? Right, turn them channels off for now then. So at that point there, we've applied some EQ to the kicks and the snares, we've put a filter on the hi-hat, and we've left the tom for now, but maybe we could actually put some on to make it sound a bit brighter. So can you press one of these EQ dials? Seems we're on channel 4 already. So
okay.
yeah, just press one of them in, just tap one of them in slightly. Right, that brings up the EQ. So turn this channel back on for me, right? And we're going to put somewhere like 3 or 4, try 3 kilohertz. So click the high mid on that one. The high mid, that one. Okay, press that. Right, change this value to it says 3000, so 3.00. No, change this frequency dial. This is turning this now.
3000.
3000. So you're going high, you're going down, come up, this way. Keep going. Right, okay. Now increase that with the gain, so turn it up on the gain, one underneath it. Keep going. Okay. See, it sounds a little bit brighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe just decrease the Q to bring it a little bit tighter. So listen to this. Okay, sounds a bit better. Right, turn these other channels back on. Okay. So you can maybe turn that down a little bit more now, just a little bit. Okay, so it's a bit more appropriate, yeah? Okay. Right, so that point there, we've done the drums, so you can mute all the drums for now, turn them all off, right? So at this point here then, what we're going to do is we're going to go for the bass guitar next. So if you cue channel 5, okay, lift it up on the mixer and listen to this when you listen. So the bass guitar, very round sounded. There's not very much you could do on the EQ as such, okay? But we could try and make it sound a little bit clearer by trying to take some 250 out possibly. So what we're going to go for is a low mid EQ. Okay, and find the frequency that says 250, so you're not miles away. So move that frequency dial. So it says 250, down, 250.
Oh,
Right, okay. Now this time try decreasing the gain, so pulling it down a little bit. Okay, keep going. Okay, keep going. Okay, so it's making it a little bit quieter, you see, but it's taking out a lot of the roundness to it. Let's move the Q point into, so tighten it to the Q, control the top one. Bring it into the left hand side a little bit so it's not affecting so many frequencies. Okay, so it's still got a little bit of brightness to this and it's taking out some of that roundness, okay? So you can do a brief mix if you turn all these channels back on again. You don't have to do this all the time, but you get an understanding if it sounds appropriate. So you can lift the bass guitar up a little bit, so balance it in with the kick drum. So can you hear the kick and the bass?
yeah.
Okay? Happy? So mute them channels. Right, okay, and mute channel 5 as well. So next we're going to go for the guitar, so if you cue channel 6 and lift the channel fader up. Okay? Now to be fair, this sounds quite bright and quite clear already, so there's not much we need to do to this on an EQ basis, so you could actually lift this up and just listen to it in the mix. So turn the other channels back on. It's very clean, very bright, and you can hear it over the top of the guitar, so it's a good guitar channel. Okay?
Yeah.
So you can turn them off then. So it's a very, very strange, peculiar thing to happen when a guitar player actually gets an EQ where it's bright and it's clear and you don't necessarily need to do anything to it EQ wise. Let's listen to this acoustic guitar then. So Q channel 6, 7, sorry. Right, okay, lift the channel so we can hear it in the mix. Okay, so this sounds a little bit rounded and woolly, so we can make this sound a little bit brighter, but first off we're going to try and compress it. We're going to try and make sure that it sticks out clearly, okay? So what we're going to do, this dial here, you've got to be careful, don't press this, but number 1 has been the reason why we've been using a lot of the buttons quite a lot of the time, but if you press that number 2 dial in there, just press it once, just push it in once, right, okay? That brings you up to the compression screen straight away. That one should do it, so don't press it, but that one should have done it for our noise gauge, but because it's a bit knackered at the minute, we pull it out, it's not working. So with this one, we can just press that in and bring this up. Now we need to turn it on again, like we did with the noise gauge, so use the up arrows to get to the button above this, press the up arrow, press enter. Okay, so now the compression is going to be working, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the threshold, okay? If you go to the threshold dial, press down, and actually you can use this as the threshold now, so you can actually turn it a little bit. Turn it to the right hand side. Which way are you turning that? Oh, you're actually bringing that to the left hand side, okay? Go to about -20 on the dial there. Okay. Right, so increase the attack time to about 15 or 20 or something like that. So go across, use the jog dial to get to about 15 or 20, yeah, just keep turning.
Where am I going to?
About 15. Okay. And then with the release time, leave it where it is. And actually, I'll tell you what, go to the threshold and drop it to about -30. Keep going down there. Right, okay, cool. So at this point here, can you see that you've got some gain reduction? That means compression's taking place, and you can see the input level is now being minimized. So what we can do is go to the output level now, so go across to the output gain. And what we want to try and do is balance it so the output level is picking up about 3 dB. So maybe go 3 dB with output level are balanced now, okay? We're going to go to the EQ next, so if you just press one of these dials, press it in.
That one.
Now what we're going to do is we're going to use the high pass filter, so come across to this box above the on button, press enter, go to the frequency above it, and we'll probably want to move the one that says frequency, right, okay? Move it down to the left hand side for now, okay, so bring it back towards me. Keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, keep coming, right, okay. So at this point in time, listen to this, you can hear it a bit boomy and a bit rattly, and you can hear a lot of the low end stuff, okay, rumbling around. So now turn this to the right hand side till it starts to be sounding tighter, so keep going to the right, the other way, the other way, the other way, the other way. Right, listen, use your ears as you turn that. Keep going to the right, keep going round. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep turning. Keep going. Right, hold on. Okay, we can go a little bit more, I think. Okay, so the guitar sounds a little bit thin, I get that, but it's hopefully trying to clear the bottom bit, okay? So what we can do to test it is we can bring the other channels back in. Now can you hear that guitar across the top of this one? That's the one that's doing that little riff, it's very quiet. Bring that up a little bit more. Okay, so notice the bass guitar's a little bit too loud now. Bring the bass guitar a little bit down. Okay, and maybe this is a little bit too high. And that wants to be maybe back a little bit, tiny bit up. Okay, you happy so far? Right, turn the channels off. Right, okay, so at that point there we've got all the backline, now we're just interested in the instruments. So if you lift the first vocal up, the male voice, Q channel 8 as well, so move to the next channel, lift the vocal up so you can hear it, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to start by going to the EQ screen, which is already up, and we're going to go for the high pass filter, so move down one and press enter to turn it on. Move up one, and we want to go to about 236 hertz with this, so wind it up to 236. Okay? So it gets rid of a lot of the bottom end, lowers a lot of the bass out of his voice, okay? What we're going to do is we're going to try and increase some 4 kilohertz. So go for the high mid dial, okay? And I want you to increase, so use the gain to lift it up. So the gain control now, bring that up, turn it to the right hand side, okay, keep going. Listen to his voice, so when you do it, so here, okay? So maybe just pull it down to, you're not on 4 kilohertz, so you're on 5k there, so use the frequency dial, it's a little bit too high, this way to me, left hand side. Okay, so maybe at that point there it sounds a little bit too nasally, so bring it down to say like 5 dB. So you're on 8 at the minute, so down to 5. Okay, so it's a little bit cleaner. Bring the channel fader up so we can hear it a bit cleaner. Alright, listen to this. Okay, right, so that might be appropriate for now. Turn the channel off. Right, next cue channel 9, lift the channel fader up. And this person's going to be coming in somewhere soon. In a second. Lift it up a little bit more, just a little bit more, it's going to come in soon. That voice. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the same process, we're going to add a high pass filter on this, so go across to where the high pass filter function is, above the on switch.
This one.
Yeah. And what you're going to do is turn it again to 236, so press the up arrow once, and wind it up to 236.
Oh, 236.
Down one, down. Next, yeah. So bring that to 236. No. Yeah, get it on there, sorry. Up, right, now wind the jog dialogue. Right. Right. Okay. Happy with that? Right, so he's got quite a brittle voice anyway, it's quite high in the high range, so we're going to try that in the mix and see what it sounds like, okay? So mute that channel for now, and then go to the last channel, so cue the last channel, and then turn it back on again. No, you haven't turned it off. Now lift it. And this is the female voice, and she should be in shortly. Right, okay, do me one favour, press the home button a second. For someone no reason. Right, okay, there's a noise. Right, remember when we did the mistake at the very beginning? We were on this channel, set a noise gate, still activated. So can you use the up and down arrows to get to where it says on in the white up one? Right, press enter. Now be careful because that's going to bring it through now. Okay, right, so that's the female version. Right, okay, so listen to this. So what we're going to do with this is we're going to add a compressor on. So we're going to go to the press dynamic 2, just press it once in. Okay. Go to where it says on over here with the up and down arrows and turn it on.
On where?
And then press enter. That'll be on now when you press enter. Right, okay, so that's activating that. Brought the threshold down to say minus 25 or minus 30. So minus 30. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Minus 30. Okay. Go to output gain and increase it by 6 dB.
This one? Oh,
No, no, jog down, jog down.
Ah.
Go to 6.0. Okay. Go to the attack time, make it about 25. Okay. Right, so turn all three voices on now. Okay, listen to this. So see who's louder and quieter of the three voices.
That one.
So, okay. Just mute the two backing vocals a second. Okay, so listen, this is the lead vocalist by himself, right? To be fair, we haven't got him balanced with the rest of the mix, so can you turn all the other channels on and make sure he's... Okay, so listen to this. So the backing, the lead vocalist is a little bit quiet, so maybe lift him up a little bit. So, lead vocalist, this guy. Okay. Okay, so you can still hear kick, snare, maybe kick a little bit, tiny bit more. To that point there then, we've managed to get the mix to a reasonable level, okay? And we've got the balance of EQ and dynamic processes. So the last thing we're going to do now, or say the last thing, one of the last things we're going to do is add some effects, right? So we're going to make the vocal sound a little bit softer. Now, we're only interested in the vocalist at this point in time, so can you turn all the other channels apart from voices off, right? Okay? And what we're going to do with the vocal channels is we're going to send it to the effects processor. To do this, we need to do three things. So first off, we need the channel faders up, so that's why we had to, no, leave them. We've just created a bit of a mix, so we're happy with that point, okay? So at this point here, the three voices are in at the level that we think is appropriate for our balance, so you're happy with that. So now what we're going to do is we are going to make sure that the master auxiliary sends are turned up. So if you press the master fader there for me once, what we're interested in is mix 13, 14, 15, 16. These are the four effects processes. As you can see, they're all turned on and they're all turned up to 0, so we're happy with that stage, okay? Right, come back to layers 1 to 16 then. And what we're going to do is we're going to send these three signals to mix 13. So if you press mix 13 once, and you press it for a second time, what I'm going to ask you to do is lift channel faders 8, 9 and 10 to say roughly 0 dB at the minute. So lift them all the way up to 0. Now notice there's no audio coming through at this point, okay? So don't panic. Now what's going to happen next is I'm going to turn the, sorry, just one more thing. Go to custom fader layer for me once, just to double check that. Fantastic. Okay, press home just out of curiosity. Right, okay, can you just pull this fader down now just for safety measures, and then we'll talk about that in a bit. Go back to layer 1 to 16 quickly then. Right, okay, so what we're going to do, or what we've just set up, is these three vocalists should be set up to go to the effects processor. Now on this desk here, if you compress rack 1 to 4 and 5 to 8 together at the same time, and what you see is there's got the graphic EQs, the one that you applied at the very beginning, and then you've got this effects processor rack. If you press enter on that, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to press spacebar. It's going to start the music.
Yeah.
What you're going to hear is the audio for the three vocals, but only the three vocals, okay? So listen to this, don't get excited, it's going to come What we need to do is get that level to minus 18. Okay? So I'm just going to pull that down so we can talk, but we shouldn't be affecting that, right? Okay, so we're going to get that green fader, that green line to get to minus 18, okay? So if you press mix 13 one more time, okay? And then when I go back to this section here where they're all singing, you're going to lift these three channel faders even higher till them green lights hit minus 18, okay? So just keep going with it. Just be careful, it's all the way at the top there, but okay. Right, for a little bit of safety measurement, maybe we're going to back it off ever so slightly, but you're right, it needs to be driven a lot higher. But for now, it's a bit appropriate that it's going to be that send level, okay? Right, so at that point there then, we're happy that the effects process is getting signal and then it's coming in. So what I'm going to do now is we are going to leave sends on faders mode. So if you press the home function, that takes us out of sends on faders mode. You're going to put the stereo master back to 0, okay? Back to 0, so the line through it. And then what's going to happen is you press the custom fader layer. And what will happen is the effects return is going to be here. This is going to be effects 1. So when I press spacebar, you're going to gradually increase that. So gradually increase that.
Sacred short space, obscure, masculine. We are all we want. Step nearer.
You hear the effects?
Yes, we're one. Step nearer.
Okay.
Wanna be one.
So that's the effects processor. So we're going to leave it up. Okay, leave it about -10 for now. We're going to go back into here. We're going to turn all the channels back on again, and then you're going to try and balance the effect processor with the mix now. Okay, so you're going to turn all these back on again. You can do it as I start the track though, because it's going to be loud again. It's just so you know, it's going to be instantly loud. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's not terrible. You've heard it already. You've mixed it already. But now what you're going to do after we start the music is you're going to come back in fader layer. You're going to lift that channel fader or decrease it depending on where the effect is, so it sits right. Okay, so listen to this.
Step nearer.
And then can you hear the effect?
We're one. Step nearer. Sacred short space, we are all we want. Step nearer. Yes, we're one. Step nearer. Wanna be one. Step nearer. Think we're one.
So all in all, that's going to be the effects processor setup. Okay. Now at this point here as well, we could also set up a delay in exactly the same manner. So what we're going to do is the delay should come back in on 16, right? Okay. So we're going to set up the send to the processor. So go back to 1 to 16. Okay. Turn off the other channels other than vocals one more time. Last time. Okay. And just so you only want the lead vocal and the backing vocals. Instead of going to mix 13 this time, we're going to go to mix 16, okay? And then hopefully, if you press UDK11, just so you know, UDK11, that sorry, someone's changed my shortcut, it's fine. Go to rack, so press them 2 buttons again, okay? And come down to the last one that says mono delay. Use the down arrows and then press enter. Okay, so we're going to be balancing them levels again. So when we press play on here, you're going to hit this 16 again, okay? So let me press play.
Step
Bring up 8, 9 and 10 so you get
Sacred short space, obscure,
channel
masculine.
faders 8, 9 and 10, lift them up.
Hour by hour, we'll drop down and see where the world has grown.
Okay?
So
Maybe a little bit more.
Yeah, all we want. Step nearer.
So press
Yes,
home
we're
button.
one.
Okay? Tap tempo this in time with the band. So it's
Wanna be
1, 2, 3, 4.
Step nearer.
Tap it in time.
Think we're
1,
one.
2, 3, 4. Okay?
Step nearer.
Fader layer.
Sacred shots, yeah.
Lift this channel fader.
All we want. Step nearer.
Can you hear that?
Yes, we're one. Step
So
nearer.
lift it up slightly to say minus
Wanna be
30.
one. Step
A little
nearer.
bit more.
Think we're one.
A little bit more.
Step nearer. Sacred shots,
So minus 20, minus 20, somewhere there. Okay?
hour by hour, we'll drop down and see where
Little tiny bit more. In about minus 20. Okay?
so soon.
Back to this layer. Okay? Turn all these channels back on again.
Yeah, all we want.
You hear the delay slightly in the background.
Step
You hear the
nearer.
reverb in the background.
Yes, we're one.
Okay, so with that not being so overpowering, there's 2 ways you can run a delay. You can run it all the way through, or you can run it at peak times when you think it's appropriate. Currently, where you've got it set at the level we've got it set, I think that we could call that reasonable. Okay.
Okay.
So at this point here, the last task that we need to do is we need to achieve clarity in the mix. So what I'm going to let you do now is I'm going to put it back to the beginning. So you're going to go from the very beginning of the song, and you're going to be able to manipulate these fader levels to the levels that you think are required during the performance. If you're happy with them, you don't have to necessarily change. But if you're thinking, when the song's going through, can I hear this, can I hear this, can I hear this? So can we hear the kick drum? Yes or no? Can we hear the snare drum? Yes or no? And as you're going through the mix, you might want to manipulate the levels, but they might not be changing dramatically. Are you with me?
Mhm.
So this is the very, very beginning of the song, and this is it now. Imagine you're on the live performance. You've done your sound check, you've done the stuff with the band are all happy. Now you need to make sure that you can actually mix for the audience, if you like. Is that okay? Right, so all the way to the beginning of the song, we press play, and any changes and adjustments feel
Love in our hearts, no shorts.
So I'm going to go through the entire song.
Some cats you don't need to
So you might manipulate them as it's going on. Is the reverb and delay too loud? Let's get to the reverb and delay in there. And they're the two, that's the reverb and delay, so you might want to pull that down. You might want to leave them depending on what you want to do, okay? So I would wait till more singing comes in, because that's what's going to
Yes,
okay?
or break it up, not too sure where we are. All we want, step nearer. Yes, we're one, step nearer. Wanna be one, step nearer. Think we're one, step nearer. Cycling shorts, face obscure, masculine.
So is the bass guitar too loud against the guitar sound? Can you hear the guitar? The clean guitar, channel 6. Higher, but we have to go through the entire song, so you can make any changes you want, but we have to play the entire thing.
Thank you very much. What few of us there are here, but thank you for indulging us.
Thank you for the festival for having us.
Yeah, and thank you for the good people having us, and we'll be back later on tomorrow. Thanks.
Right, up to that point there then, we've managed to use effects processing appropriately, we managed to conduct a sound check before the performance, and we managed to achieve some clarity in the mix through appropriate control of each source's level, timbre and processing, sorry. Now overall, this is where the evaluation stage comes in. How did you feel about that mix? Did you think there's anything that could have been beneficial? Is there anything you would have done differently? Is there anything that would have been more appropriate? What
No.
would you tell me? Absolutely nothing.
No.
Okay, so I'm going to just put one component to you. Were you aware at some point in that mix there was a guitar solo? Were you aware?
I think so.
You think so? So at one point the channel 6 guitar, okay, the electric guitar, was actually playing a guitar solo. What would have been more appropriate in an overall mix at that time period?
If it was decreased slightly when during singing.
For a guitar solo?
I don't know then.
So do you know what a guitar solo is?
Yeah, but it's when you hear the guitar fully in when there's no vocals about.
Okay, but you could hear a guitar playing fully without anything special happening when vocals not happening. But when it gets to a guitar solo, like famous guitar players like Slash and
yeah, like heavy metal stuff.
Jimi
Yeah.
Hendrix and all them people. It doesn't have to be metal. It could be funk. It could be any style of music. Okay, but when it gets to a guitar solo, who should be the most important person in the mix at that point?
The person who plays guitar.
So, what would you suggest a live sound engineer should be doing at that period of time?
Increasing the guitar.
Right, fantastic. So at that point, in personal opinion, when you're evaluating your mix, I would have personally said, when it got to the guitar solo, to increase that. That gives the opportunity for everyone to hear what the guitar player's doing. Now, normally throughout that piece, the guitar player is strumming big chords, so it's quite prominent, okay? But when the guitar player is playing single note stuff and playing less notes, okay, it's not as loud. So to increase that level, we need to do them a favour and lift the channel fader, okay? At the end of the performance then, the singer was talking and introducing themselves and the band and talking about their performances and saying we'll see you tomorrow, etc. What did you still have on when the vocalist was talking?
I don't know.
Okay, so we'll go back to it just briefly so you get a witness of what's happening. Okay, so listen to this. So this is the end of the performance coming up, okay? Okay, so the singer's about to start talking. Listen to this.
Thank you very much. What few of us there are here, but thank you for indulging us.
Thank you for the festival for having us.
Yeah, and thank you for people having us. We'll be back later on tomorrow. Thanks.
So what have we just heard decay then? I'll put it back a little bit, so listen to this at the end.
Thank you very
What can you hear?
much.
The guitar.
No?
What
The snare.
No?
few of us there are
Vocals.
What's specially on the vocals?
here,
It needs to be decreased.
No.
but
What's happening on the vocals?
It's echoing.
It's echoing. So what are we listening to there?
The effects.
Right. So at the end of the performance, when the person's introducing the song, what do you reckon we could do as sound engineers to make it clearer for someone?
Decrease the echo.
Right, good. How could we do that? How could we
Go
turn the
to
effects?
custom fader.
Brilliant.
And decrease. That's
Excellent. And what else could you decrease as well?
This.
Right, okay. And because you're talking about decreasing, do you not think it'd be good just to get rid of it altogether?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? So now listen to this attempt, okay? So if this was the end of the song, so listen to his voice.
thank you very much. What few of us there are here, but
And when I stop it, what can't we hear?
The echo.
Right. Do you think that would be appropriate then?
Yes.
So when we evaluate our mixes, when we're talking about guitar solos, what should we look at doing?
Getting rid of the effects.
The guitar solo. What did we say?
Increase
first?
it.
Increase the
Frequency. Sound. During the guitar solo.
Okay. So if the guitar solo is happening, what should we be increasing?
Number 7.
Okay. Yeah, but what you got hold of there?
The 7. That one.
Yeah. What feature of the desk have you got hold of there?
6.
What?
Guitar.
Okay. Come back to layer 1 to 16 here. Okay. And get hold of number 6 right now, like you said. Okay. What is that feature of the mixing desk? And don't tell me the guitar, because that's the channel that it is. But what
22.
feature? No. What feature of the mixing desk is it? Is it the gain control? Is it the EQ? What feature is it?
I don't know.
Is it an auxiliary send? Is it an EQ?
Is it EQ?
No.
Is it auxiliary send?
Is it a channel fade?
Yes, it's
a channel fader. So when we get to that channel, when we get to that point in the guitar solo, what should we be increasing? What's that feature called? What we just called?
Channel fader.